Right now on Today in New York, it's Memorial Day 2021. A time to reflect, to honor, and to begin to return to many of the traditions that were taken away by the pandemic. But the rain and record cold, boy, that dampened several weekend events and plans. The skies, though, getting ready to clear. Storm Team 4 is timing out our warm-up. Yes, we can say that. Then also this morning, controlling the crowds while the city has decided to close off Washington Square Park early on the weekends. Well, good morning, everybody. It is 4 a.m. on this Monday. It's May 31st, Memorial Day. Michael Gargiulo, Darlene Rodriguez has the morning off. Emily West is here for Lauren Scala as she's watching our roads and rails. And Storm Team 4's Maria LaRosa is here with a look at today's forecast. What a weekend we've gone through, Maria.
I mean, we've had some real tough weekends, and that was definitely one of them, where most of the time spent in the 40s and maybe getting into the 50s with the rain. We're improving on every one of those facets there of the forecast. There's the rain. Most of it is out of here. What we're left with is some patchy drizzle, maybe some light showers, and this is really over the next couple of hours because it is on its way out. Temperatures now 49 in the city, 51 in Newark, 49 in Poughkeepsie, 48 in Islip. Some reduced visibility too, so if you're up early about ready to head out, that may be an issue with some of that drizzle. Otherwise, eventually that sun does win out. Partly sunny by noontime, temperatures climbing near 60 degrees. Will be dry and pleasant, closer to 70 though by 5 p.m. That sun really helping us out, and dry and pleasant through the evening, 62 degrees by 10 o'clock. But a bit of a mess out there, Emily. Where do we need to watch out?
Yeah, right now, traffic is pretty light due to the holiday bump, dealing with the drizzle and the fog. You do need to just take it easy if you are traveling out. Cuomo Bridge, there is a speed restriction of 45 miles per hour just due to the weather, but really not much traffic. And even the George Washington Bridge, it's a good ride, but foggy conditions. You can see across the span, everything looks okay. Michael, back to you.
All right, Emily, thank you so much. Well, today we do honor the men and women who have served our country and made the ultimate sacrifice. This Memorial Day also represents the return of some traditions that were canceled last year by the pandemic. New York's Tracie Strahan is near the Intrepid, where one of those events will take place later on today. Tracie.
Oh, Michael, the isolation of the pandemic has been particularly hard on veterans. So many of them depend on their kinship with their fellow service members to get through. Now, some events were happening over the weekend that gave them a chance to get back together. Others have changed altogether. Let's show you some video now, because there is an event planned, of course, here at the Intrepid Sea Air Museum. A 100-foot flag will be unfurled in recognition of the men and women in uniform. Even with many COVID restrictions that have been lifted throughout the state, this morning's ceremony and wreath laying will not be open to the public. It will, however, be live streamed.
Oh, say, can you see?
Now, wreaths were placed to honor fallen service members at a ceremony in the town of Huntington on Long Island Sunday. There's no definitive tally for coronavirus deaths or vaccinations among American military vets, but the Department of Veterans Affairs data shows so far more than 12,000 have died. More than 2.5 million have been vaccinated against COVID-19. That's out of the roughly 9 million veterans enrolled in their programs.
Past year has been unlike any other in our history. But as we Marines say, we improvise, we adapt, and we overcome adversity.
Now, despite Sunday's heavy downpour, you see people there participating in the Citizens for Memorial Day car parade. That was out in College Point, Queens, Sunday. That's the second consecutive year that their annual parade had to be canceled due to those COVID restrictions. The community, however, was encouraged to come out, decorate their vehicles, and wave their flags as well. As we bring you back live here again, this is a ceremony at the Intrepid that will be live streamed. It begins at 11 o'clock this morning. We're live on the west side this morning. Tracie Strahan, Today in New York. Michael, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Tracie, thank you so much. And President Biden will lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier later on this morning. It's a deeply personal Memorial Day weekend for the Commander-in-Chief, as his late son, veteran Beau Biden, died just 6 years ago.
We only have one truly sacred obligation, and that's to equip those we send into harm's way with all they need and care for them and their families when they return home and when they don't.
Along with President Biden, the First Lady, Vice President Kamala Harris, and the Second Gentleman also joined him in Virginia for this year's wreath-laying ceremony. The president also set to deliver remarks on the National Memorial Day of Service. 4:05 now. Some traditions, of course, didn't happen this weekend thanks to pictures like this. That rainy and cool weather, the temperatures canceled pretty much every outdoor event. One, however, is going to get a do-over today. Tonight, New York's Gaby Acevedo is out at Jones Beach with more on that. Gaby.
Michael, good morning. And after a one-year break due to COVID-19, the expectation is that today, on Memorial Day, the Thunderbirds will once again take to the sky. The Bethpage Air Show here at Jones Beach, which signals the unofficial start to the summer, was canceled due to the dismal weather over the weekend, Michael. The heavy rain and wind forcing the event to be held now on Memorial Day for the first time since its start in 2004, following the weekend washout. The popular tradition will go on once again, counting on U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, F-16 Fighting Falcons, the classic A-10 Thunderbolt, the Golden Knights, a U.S. Coast Guard search and rescue team, and other performers doing high-flying stunts. The air show looks to honor our nation's military and dazzle the crowds as a comeback after more than a year in the battle against the pandemic.
With everything New Yorkers have been through with COVID-19 and pandemic, they would be honored to stay another day and to perform.
The show will take place between noon and 3 p.m., Michael, and all those tickets for Saturday and Sunday, even those given to healthcare heroes, will be honored for today's performance. Reporting live from Bethpage and Jones Beach, Gaby Acevedo, today in New York.
Oh, great to see you dry, Gaby Acevedo there. Thank you so much. So happening today as well, more COVID-19 restrictions are being lifted all across New York. Governor Cuomo announced the 12 a.m. curfew is going to end for indoor dining areas. Curfew for all catered events is also going to be lifted as well. Police in South Florida still searching for the suspects in a deadly mass shooting that happened in Miami. Investigators say three men armed with assault rifles got out of an SUV, began shooting into a crowd outside a banquet hall early Sunday. 2 people were killed, more than 20 others were hurt. Our NBC station in South Florida spoke to one mother who says her son called her in the middle of the night to tell her that he'd been shot.
To be telling us, Mom, Dad, I love you. I just want to say I love you. I was shot. It's burning. It hurts. It hurts. And for me to be a medical personnel, you know, you help others and you save them, but then when it's your own, you feel helpless.
Now, the event was a release party for a local rapper. Police are looking for help in identifying the suspects. 4:07 now. Today does mark 100 years since the Tulsa Massacre in Oklahoma. It's been called one of the deadliest incidents of racial terror in American history. It took place on this day in 1921 and on into the next day. A white mob attacked a thriving black neighborhood known as Black Wall Street after a 19-year-old named Dick Rowland was arrested and accused of assaulting 17-year-old Sarah Page. An estimated 300 people died when more than 1,000 black homes and scores of businesses were reduced to ashes. Now the descendants of the city of Tulsa are paying honor to those whose lives were lost. And earlier this month, one of only 3 living survivors shared what happened that day a century ago.
I will never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see black men being shot, black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot.
At 107 years old, Viola Fletcher is the oldest living survivor of the Tulsa Massacre. No one has been held accountable for the violence. Now, tomorrow, President Biden is going to visit Tulsa and mark the loss of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. 4:09 now, the NYPD cracking down on large rowdy crowds in Washington Square Park. Take a look. This was the scene last Saturday night, and police say this is how it's been on numerous weekend nights. Police say people have been crowding the streets, jumping on vehicles, even making threats to officers. Witnesses also say drug use has been rampant. Now the NYPD is going to close the park early in the hopes of trying to control this crowd.
Even though I was supporting the activity, I enjoyed seeing young people enjoy the park. It did get a bit out of control. But I'm a little concerned of overkill with police presence as well.
Well, last night, police did close the park at 10 p.m., putting up barricades around the park entrances. Police say the park's going to close only, though, early on the weekends. And firefighters were called to the East Side building that houses Governor Cuomo's Manhattan offices. Told there was an electrical fire under that building, 633 3rd Avenue. Firefighters say nobody was hurt, no injuries reported, and no word yet as to how that fire started. 4:10 right now. So, Maria, I said it was great to see Gaby standing out there, Jones Beach, dry.
The first time in several days.
Right.
We picked up over 2 inches of rainfall just at Central Park over the last couple days. Still adding a bit to it. There's some drizzle. You certainly see the low cloudiness. So we haven't quite cleared out, but we are going to continue to improve. There's that heavy rain there. A few showers still rotating, still possible. And we're still in the 40s at Central Park, 49 right now. White Plains, Sussex, and Poughkeepsie in the 40s, Merrick and Islip as well. So we'll slowly warm by lunchtime, 57. But with that sunshine strong this time of year, we'll manage about 70 by 5 p.m. And it looks like a great feeling evening ahead, as well as temperatures stay in the 60s. But we are not going to stay in the 70s all week. We are headed to see some 80s back in the picture, and that humidity that goes along with it. I'll time that out for you coming up in the 10-day.
Maria, thank you so much. Still ahead, a disturbing case of animal cruelty in New Jersey. Several dogs now being cared for. What's going to be the while, though, before they are able to be moved to homes? And then later, Nets players, they're sounding off after a water bottle was thrown at one of them from the stands. Strong statements, and we're going to also tell you what happened to the fan who was involved in this.
And subways are running on a Sunday schedule today. We do have track work, though, on Canarsie-bound L trains, as well as other track work on the ADF and Staten Island Rail. Commuter rails are running on a weekend schedule for today. And let's get a live check of the Brooklyn Bridge. A pretty nice ride. Dealing with a little bit of a drizzle, but just keep that in mind. Everything else looks okay. You're watching Today in New York.